Greetings, IB to Dr. Noraini and everyone. My name is Brandon Dylan Gampa and I just introduce it alive to sit. My metric number is A20EC0021. This video is about the attentive assessment before high fidelity mockup of our proposed system, which is the Counselling Centre System, CCS from Team 3. In this video, we have several sections. Firstly, I'm going to do a project introductions, and then I'm going to present on the use case diagrams, and then is the use case specification based on the chosen use case from the use case diagram, including the activity diagram as well. The video also includes on the self-reflection, which explaining on the experience gained during the resume course, and prototype demo will be conducted based on the respective and chosen use case from the use case diagram. And last but not least, the video concludes on the conclusion that represent on the summary of the attentive assessment and also the resume project. As for the introduction, our stakeholder name is Mr. Muhammad Izasham bin Sohadi, who is the Head of Psychologist Officer for the Department S44 UTM Counselling Centre, UTMCC. And the name of our proposed system is the Counselling Centre System, and I was in charge to handle the before appointment module. Basically, the module allows client to book the appointments, and the UTMCC staff can view the appointment request list, and they can do data manipulation on the request, either to accept, reject, or delay the request. So the goal of our proposed system is to promote the centralized UTMCC services. The system also targets to minimize the manual operations as to promote an effectively on the mental health and the psychological well-being among the UTM students. So this is the overall UI flow of my selected GUI. I selected the use case UC001 Book Appointment from the use case diagram. This is where the client can log in and they're going to book the appointment page and also view the appointment booking list. So this is the use case diagram of our proposed system. So we have 9 use cases and also 4 modules altogether. And I'm going to explain only the before appointment module, while my other team members is going to explain the rest of the modules in other alternative assessments. And in before appointment modules, there are 2 use cases, which is UC001 Book Appointment and UC002 View Appointment Request. As I mentioned before, client will need to book the appointment, and the staff can view the appointment request and do data manipulation either to accept, delay, or reject the appointment request list. Right. So moving on to the use case specification of the UC001, which is the use case that I've selected. So the actors involved in the use case is client only, and it has been created by me, and the use case specification has been rechecked and reviewed by one of the team members, who is Rahim Reduma, on the 22nd June 2022. The description of the use case specification basically entails on how the client can book the appointment by selecting the time slot and also view the psychologist's schedule. So precondition for the use case is the client need to log in into the CCS with successful verification. As for the normal flow, the client will need to enter into the CCS client homepage, and client will need to access the book appointment section, and CCS will prompt the client into the appointment page. And client will need to view the staff schedule and also to select the time slot available, as the system will receive the request and will process the appointment details. And once the request has been successfully submitted, the system will notify the client and generate the appointment detail received to the client. In this use case specification, there are 3 alternative flows. The first one is the client will need to exit the appointment booking page by selecting the page icon. Second alternative flow is where the client can also cancel the booking by viewing into the booking list of the book appointment section, and then client will need to select the booking option in the GUI, as the system will prompt a confirmation status, either client wants to cancel or not of the appointments. If the client select yes, the system will delete the appointment request, else the system will prompt back client into the book appointment list. The third alternative flow is where the client will need to view the appointment receipt by selecting any booking details on the book appointment section, and the CCS will prompt the overlay of the appointment detail receipt. The use case specification also includes an exception flow, whereby CCS may fail to save the booking details. It will display an error message, and normal flow step 4 will be executed again. As for the post condition, the client can log out of the system, or they can manually into other services that has been implemented in the CCS. Okay. For the use case specification, also include the related requirements. We have 9 requirements is related to the UC001. So for functional requirements, the system shall provide client with the ability to book the appointments. Second functional requirements, the CCS shall provide client with the ability to view the appointment detail receipt after client book the appointment. The third functional requirement is CCS shall be able to delete the appointment when the client requests to do so. As for the quality requirement, it enhances on the system shall be able to prompt the daily update of the psychology schedule automatically, and CCS shall be able to maintain the client appointment data in the appointment booking database by only review access only to the staff level, which means that the staff and also client has no rights to edit the appointment booking details unless the administrator, because we want to provide data security and avoid any data changes in the database which may duplicate with other appointment booking details as well. And the next quality requirement is CCS should provide client with the ability to download the appointment receipt details by selecting the down arrow icon at the top page of the viewing receipt overlay. And the last quality requirement is the system should time out client when the booking appointment process exceeding 20 minutes. As for the concern requirement, CCS should permit appointment cancellation at least a day before the appointment data, and CCS should grey out the appointment booking section until the upcoming appointments expired or receive appointment cancellation requests. This is the activity diagram that is related to the UC001. So the flow is basically the same as I mentioned in the use case specification, whereby the client will need to book into the system by selecting the time slot and also viewing the psychologist's schedule. So the activity diagram also includes the normal flow, alternative flows available from the use case specification, and also the exception flow. So the activity diagram involves two domains, and from the client side and also from the Counselling Centre System side, which is our proposed system. Right. As for the self-reflection, what I gained and experienced from this RASM course is I understand the right way of eliciting the stakeholder requirements. I also be able to represent the requirement in the form of diagrams. We have multiple diagrams that we did, which are the swimlines and also the activity diagrams. And I also able to propose the system that align on the stakeholder need through Kano model analysis, which are basic performance and excitement category. As for the high fidelity prototype, I learned that I'm able to ensure that the UI that I did tallies with the related use case specification and also the activity diagrams. I also learned that I need to enable my target audience so that they are able to use the UI that I did by fulfilling related requirements that are mentioned in the use case specification. I also learned that by producing this high fidelity prototype, it allows the UI to interact with the target audience and identify if there's any other requirements needed in order to satisfy the target audience need throughout the prototype testing. So now it's time for the prototype demonstration. Alright, so this is the GI demonstration for the UC001 Book Appointment. So firstly, client will need to log in into the system, and by login they need to input the username and also the password based on the credentials they used to input when they want to log in into the MyTM portal. So once they have input the correct credentials, they can log in, and CCS will prompt client into the client dashboard profiles. So client dashboard profile means that it's the client homepage, whereby it will display the client details, which are name, metric ID, email, course, and also the program that is being enrolled by the client, and also the profile picture. Right, so let's move on. So the client needs to select the book appointment section. Okay, so CCS will prompt client into this page, whereby it will list out the available psychologists for the following week. For example, from 4th July until 11th July 2022. So there are 3 psychologists available for that week only, which are Dr. Miranda Sharon, Dr. Ethan Young, and also Dr. Ajini Ayazi. So each psychologist have their own simple educational background. For example, Dr. Miranda Sharon, she obtained her PhD in psychology from Samui University, Kuala Lumpur. Right. So for example, I want to select Dr. Ethan Young. Right. So it will prompt into this page whereby client will need to book the date and also the time slot. So they will book the date by selecting any numbers in this calendar, and they will need to select the time slot available for the Dr. Ethan Young. So each day of the date will having different time slot. So for example, you have select date of the 9th July. So the time slot may vary from the one on the 10th of July. So I select 11 a.m. time slot for Dr. Ethan Young, and then I submit the request, and it will prompt an overlay that is displaying the receipt booking. So you can download the receipt. I have 2 options. Either you can select this, or you can select the download page icon up here, or you can download receipt from your phone as well. So this code scanning QR code, you can scan it through the MyTM application, mobile application. Alright, once the overlay has been displayed and this has been presented, the client can exit the book appointment process and will prompt back into the client homepage. All right, so next flow will be client can also view the appointment list. So as I mentioned in the use case specification before, when the client book out the appointment, the CCS will create out this section whereby the client will not be able to book any more appointment unless the upcoming appointment has been rejected or been delayed or rejected by the psychologist in charge. So move on to the next alternative flow, which is the client need to view the appointment list. Right, so this page is where the CCS prompt the appointment book list have two sections: upcoming appointment, and also the past appointment. So for the upcoming appointment, we have the 2 upcoming appointments and we have 3 past appointments. Okay, so each of these appointment has its own different color code. You can view what does each color means by hovering into this icon. It will display the color code. So for example, if it's green, then it will mention that the appointment has been approved. Yellow is for the past appointments, red is for the rejected appointments, and the blue is for appointment that has been delayed by the psychologist. Okay, let's go through into this green appointment, which means that the appointment has been approved. So you can view the receipt here. We will prompt this an overlay of the receipts, and you can exit the overlay by selecting outside of here. And you can also delete this approved appointment. Although the appointment has been approved, you can also delete it, and also means that you are cancelling the appointment. Okay, so it will prompt and confirmation status. Are you sure you want to cancel the book? Then I select yes, and it will mention that your book has been deleted and the payment and the approved appointment is no longer available in the appointment book list. Right, so for the blue one representing the delayed appointment. So let's see the receipt. So the receipt for the delayed appointment is a bit different than the one that has been approved, because we are including the reasons that has been inputted by the counselor, which is the Dr. Miranda Sharon. So the counselor will need to initiate a new date for the appointments and also the time. So the initial date is the 10th of July, and the counselor delayed the date into the new date, which is the 12th of July. So the reason due to the delay is due to Dr. Miranda Sharon is offshore for 2 days, and she will only be back at service on the 12th of July. So she mentioned that client can cancel the book, or client can also stick to the changes of the appointment delay. So it's for, as usual, the client can download here. It can also select download option from the icon on top of the overlay, and also the client can also download the receipt from the phone. All right. And if you want to delete the delay appointment request, you can select the trash icon, and it will prompt confirmation status, and it will notify client that the book has been deleted. All right. So moving on to the past appointment, we have your yellow and the red appointment booking. So for the yellow one is the one with the past appointments. We can only view the receipt here. We'll prompt the receipt icon as well. And for the rejected appointment, it means that the appointment has been rejected by the psychologist due to several reasons. For example, that I booked for Dr. Itandong appointment meeting, and the appointment booking has been rejected due to the reason that Dr. Itandong may not be available on the following week due to personal reason. Okay, so that's it for the past appointments and also the payment book list section. And the client can also go back into the book appointment section here. And if your client wants to exit into the dashboard and also the client homepage, the client can just select the back page button. Okay, so the client can also log out from the system as well. Yeah, I think that's all for the project demonstration. In a nutshell, I believe that our proposed system, which is the Counselling Centre System CCS, provides a lot of benefit, especially to our clients and also with the MCC staff. Since I'm handling before appointment module, I believe that our proposed system should make the client to book appointment easier, and client will no longer need to fill up the manual form as well as the semi-automated method through the Google form. I also believe that our proposed system allow client to easily reach the staff and also the psychologist in charge by contacting their emails and also the phone number, and they can also book the time slot and view the psychologist's availability easier. With that, I hope that our proposed system can be implemented in real life of the UTM Counselling Centre. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching.